Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sonoma State University's 47th Annual Commencement. The processional will begin in 5 minutes. Will everyone please be seated? Take your seats as quickly as possible, and please clear the aisles so the processional may begin. The program will give you more detailed information about today's ceremonies. However, there are some matters for which we especially need the help and cooperation of you, our audience. First, photographs. You are welcome to take photographs from your seat. However, please be considerate of those around you. And please do not stand in the aisles or enter this area in front of the platform. We also ask, if you are planning to use a tripod, that you wait to set the tripod up until you are ready to take the picture. Tripods left up unnecessarily can be hazardous to our graduates and guests as they walk around. Also remember that professional photographers will be taking 2 separate photographs, one each from different vantage points, of every graduate as diplomas are presented. Graduates will receive proofs via email and may purchase copies of the photographs as desired. Second, cell phones. Now is a good time to turn off the cell phones, pagers, and other electronic devices before the ceremony begins. When the recessional begins, please remain in your seats and remain until all the graduates have left the commencement area. Your cooperation in this regard will allow the recessional to proceed smoothly and quickly. You may meet your graduates in the central campus quad area or at the school receptions after the recessional. Please do not stop them along the way. Our ceremony lasts 2.5 to 3 hours, so I want to point out the map on the inside back cover of the commencement program you received. Locations for the accessible restroom facilities, food locations, and building locations are on that map. And in addition, event restrooms not on the map are located behind the general seating area next to the art building and on the west side of the Student Union and the north side of the bookstore. The Student Union is directly behind me. The bookstore is to my right. And finally, I would like to point out to you the location of our American Sign Language interpreters to the left of the stage. They will be here signing the entire ceremony to assist those who are hearing impaired. And if I may go off script for just a moment, as some of you know from our earlier ceremony this morning, the rain did curtail that ceremony somewhat, and if the rain were to get much heavier this afternoon, please be patient with us, and we apologize in advance for the weather, but anything could happen from this point on. We hope for the rain to stop and we can go through the entire ceremony. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sonoma State professors Dr. Martha Yates and Mr. Duncan McInnes, who will announce the call to procession as they play on the bagpipes, a composition written by Dr. Yates in honor of Sonoma State University's commencement, the Graduation Fanfare.
Good day. I am Tim Wanling, Chair of the Faculty, and I am happy to welcome you to Sonoma State University's 47th commencement. Would the banner carriers please place the heraldic banners in their stands? Now would everyone please be seated. Now it is my great pleasure to introduce the President of Sonoma State University, Dr. Ruben Armañana.
Good afternoon to all of you, and welcome to this commencement ceremony. This morning we had a similar ceremony for about 1,000 of you, and we shortened it considerably. To about 15 minutes. Since there seems to be a little break in the weather, we're going to try to continue on. But like everything in life that you learn with all your education, is that you sometimes have to make do with different plans and change the course of action. and we might have to do that. But right now we will continue. Let me also say that in many cultures, a rain at a major ceremony is a sign of future great wealth and great prosperity. I think you are getting that sign clearly this afternoon. This year's graduate number approximately 2,200. About 1,000 of you are participating in this ceremony for the School of Arts and Humanities. The School of Business and Economics, and the School of Education. A large number participated in an abbreviated ceremony earlier this morning under a lot heavy rain for the Schools of Science and Technology and the School of Social Sciences. You will be joining the more than 53,000 students who have completed a master's or bachelor's degree at Sonoma State University since our first commencement back in 1962. I will say that almost every single one of you sitting in black gowns here probably were not even thought to be born in 1962. Except for a couple. You come from many states and many countries which are represented by the various flags that you see flying behind me, although the majority of you are from California. Some of our students could not be with us today. Instead, they are at Sauget, Illinois. You might have heard the news, but after Western Region Tournament win last week, and for the first time in the program's 38-year history, the Sonoma State baseball team is playing in the NCAA Division II College World Series. Just prior to coming here, I heard that the score was now a 9-0 in the 5th inning. Not bad. Hopefully by the end of the ceremony we will hear the completion of it. Today you celebrate an achievement in common, the award of a master's or bachelor's degree. To all of you, the graduates of 2008, welcome to your commencement. We especially want to welcome the families and friends of our graduates. You can all share in the happiness and pride of our graduates on this great occasion, because each of you has played some part in their great success. I would like to take a moment as we begin this commencement ceremony to invite the graduates to stand and acknowledge their parents and grandparents, children, spouses, significant others, brothers, sisters, friends, and pets for their help and support. We are pleased to have on our platform party today several distinguished guests, which I will ask for them to stand when I call them. First, Dr. Gary Richard, the Executive Vice Chancellor and Chief Academic Officer of the California State University. Before moving to the Chancellor's office, he served for 12 years as the Provost at Cal State Long Beach. The Alumni Association, which forms our graduates' most important link to the alma mater, and I expect every single one of you to become a member, is represented by the President of the Alumni Association, Jim Medley. David Viviani joins us today as a representative of the President's Advisory Board. He has lived in Sonoma County many years and is the owner of the Sonoma Cheese Company. You have assume his brother. He's a friend and supporter of the SSU, but most importantly, his son Peter graduates today with a degree in business administration. Representing the students of Sonoma State University is a young woman who has been a student leader during her time here. Diana Nation is the chair of JUMP, which is the Associate's Community Service Advocacy Program. She's graduating today with a bachelor's degree in human development. I would also like to acknowledge the university officials and others in the platform party who are here today to honor our graduates. You will find their names and titles on page 16 of your commencement program. I would also like to acknowledge our distinguished faculty who are here today to participate in this important ceremony. Their names can be found starting on page 48 of your program. Finally, please join me in recognizing the almost 400 members of the Sonoma State University staff whose dedication and hard work have made this ceremony possible, and they really have worked under extreme difficult conditions. I would like now to invite Dr. Gary Richard, Executive Vice Chancellor and Chief Academic Officer, to greet you, our graduates.
Thank you, President Armiñana. It's a great honor to share this special day with the newest graduates of Sonoma State University, with the families and friends of the graduates, and the faculty and staff of this great institution. I'm delighted to bring you greetings and congratulations on behalf of the California State University. Graduates, you represent the best hopes of the state of California. This spring, more than 90,000 freshly minted CSU graduates will be moving from their alma maters to enter into professional and graduate schools or go directly into the workforce of this great state. Together, you are cause for great optimism. The state of California is counting on your skills, your knowledge, your creativity, and above all, the dedication that you've shown in working successfully toward the degrees that you'll receive today. You will not disappoint. As a citizen and member of your community, continue to support the CSU by showing others how earning a college degree can be the most important step toward a brighter future. As a graduate of the CSU, be an ambassador for our university. Let your friends, colleagues, legislators, and community know how important the CSU has been for you and how they can join you in keeping the doors of opportunity open for others by supporting the California State University. And as graduates of Sonoma State University, you've received not only an excellent education in your major fields, but an appreciation and understanding of the value of the liberal arts and sciences. These are the basis for a rewarding personal life and successful career. You're very fortunate to have attended such a fine university. You've worked hard, and you deserve the degrees that will be conferred upon you today. Again, on behalf of the California State University, the Chancellor's Office, and the Board of Trustees, I congratulate you on your achievement, and I wish you every success as you lead this great university for your tomorrow.
Thank you, Dr. Richard. I would now like to invite Diana Nation, representative of the Associated Students, to greet the graduates.
Welcome, graduates, students, parents, and friends, to the 2008 Sonoma State Commencement. On this questionable, beautiful day, I would like to congratulate these approximate 1,000 graduates on their final step in their Sonoma State experience. As your representative of the Associated Students, it is my pleasure to have represented you as the chairperson of the JUMP program. Much like college, life is what you make of it. Therefore, your success is impingent on your will and desire to succeed. On behalf of the other 8,000 fellow students not here today, we want to wish you the best of luck and happiness in your future aspirations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Diana. I would now like to introduce our student speaker, David Rick. David graduates with a Bachelor of Arts in English. He is a native of Visalia in Tulare County, located in the agricultural heart of California's San Joaquin Valley. He graduated in 1998 from Mount Whitney High School, and after exploring several different majors, he received his Associate of Arts degree in journalism from the College of the Sequoias in 2005. His community college experiences led him to enjoy writing in all forms and cemented his interest in language and communication. His service to the university and communities include activities such as an English teaching assistant and tutor, participation in numerous clubs where he has been an MC, show host, and panel presenter. David will be returning to SSU in the fall as a graduate student to continue his studies of writing and literature. Eventually, he plans to be a published novelist and a university professor or writing center director. While it is popular to consider graduation a beginning, entering into the real world, Mr. Rick fervently believes that the time spent in university is time spent not merely preparing for life, but in living it, and that fellow graduates should carry these experiences as part of them in all that they do. Please join me in welcoming David Rick.
I have a question. Your answer will not come in multiple choice or essay form, and it cannot be graded. This is a simple question, a question of being. What stories will you tell? Now, as we stand between turning pages, flipping channels, or even surfing sites, this question seems to have heightened meaning. The trick is, of course, that we're already answering. Even now, sitting politely and listening, each person here holds both the beginning and the culmination of 1,000 stories. I hope you'll forgive my preoccupation, English major and all. But I feel that I live my life through stories. I do not just mean the kind written in books or played out on a screen. Of course, there are also the ones grandparents tell to eager ears or to captive audiences. These are histories, memories shared across generations, and I treasure them deeply. But these are not the stories I mean either. I refer to the tales we tell between breaths and broken pencils. We curse them out during parking crunches or groan them when confronted with a mountain of assigned reading. We have been sharing them all along during our time here and telling them since birth. What I wonder is, what stories will arise from your time here at Sonoma State? I, too, am a teller of tales. I have at least 3 good ones that involve the Bacon statue over in the quad between Darwin and Stevenson. There's that time I fell down the stairs outside of the library and walked away with bruised pride, a broken cell phone, and 1 shattered Christmas gift. By the way, Mary Schmeek advises that we should wear sunscreen. My advice, wear shoes with good tread. I have hundreds of stories about professors who have guided me, including the ones who inspired me, or those who drove me to learn new forms of profanity. We even have that professor who tells his students to get naked. Don't worry, it's just a metaphor. They are all now part of my story. They, or others like them, have also become part of yours. So what of this setting, this seat of stories, where we get our news from a star and our radio from the sun? What of Charlie Brown and his surprisingly delicious vegan cookies? Or the late-night classes in the basement of Ives Hall? I swear the place is haunted. But I think the Ives ghost is a friendly one. We have seen Sonoma State grow and change quite a lot in our time here, with Darwin's facelift, the foundations of new buildings, and record-sized incoming classes. What has not changed is the simple fact that for all its growth, SSU is still a place where a professor might just as likely invite you to breakfast as assign a field trip. You might bump into another one while getting lunch and then sit and talk for 2 hours between classes. They probably know you by name. There is really no single defining element to what makes our time at Sonoma State unique. Rather, it is the combination of many factors. The place, the time, the people, the rainy days that just keep happening whether you love them or loathe them. When more formalized stories, histories, are written about this time in America, they will describe presidents, attacks, wars, economic crises, scandals, and natural disasters. In the fullness of time, the facts of these years will fade from being starkly distinct to vaguely recalled. They are lessons well heeded, but they do not have the defining quality that is central to my question. They are not ours. They will lack our personal moments, our joys, and our sorrows. They will be facts, not tales. I will not pretend for a moment that tragedies did not take place in our personal lives. Students have died in our time here, and those who live on have each faced grief and loss. Maybe we're not proud of everything we've done, or we regret something we left unfinished. These stories must also be told. Each story forgotten is another tragedy, another lesson that ceases to be taught. But in recalling these more painful stories, also remember what carried you through them. Maybe your professor bought you coffee when you needed it. Or your advisor let you sit on her little purple couch, piecing together some part of your life. Embarrassments, failures, or even quiet everyday moments are part of who we are. They are as real as, maybe more real than, our triumphs. These are our stories. I came to Sonoma State uncertain and seeking a place to learn and to call home. I realize how it sounds. If I wrote this in fiction, I would call it trite, cliché. But I found that place. Here at Sonoma State, we have met mentors and tormentors alike, made friends and made rivals. In the English department alone, I can name nurturers, challengers, and far too many brilliant people than it seems should exist in one small place. I always expected that graduation would represent the closure of many stories, and I suppose it has. But far more striking are the countless stories this place has begun for me. I am confident that each of you will find the same to be true. So again I ask you, what stories will you tell? I may never hear most of these tales, but I fully and heartily believe in their power. Congratulations, graduates, families, and faculty, for all you achieved and for who you have helped along the way. I wish you good luck, wherever your stories may take you.
Thank you, David, for that inspiring message to all of us. As David said, we all have stories. And I think from now on I'm going to have ones that I have not had for the past 16 years. There is a song that many Latin children, Hispanic children learn at a very early age, and it's called De Colores, which celebrates colors and what they mean and the fact that we all have great colors. One of my stories is going to be the sea of colors in your umbrellas today. For I'm making the very best of not the best rainy day, but the colors are simply gorgeous, and I appreciate that. We're honored to have our speaker today, Dr. Reuben Carter. I'll tell Dr. Carter that I particularly like his first name. He is a former boxer, writer, and human rights activist. He has a Doctor of Laws and is the CEO and founder of Innocence International. Dr. Carter has lived in Toronto, Canada since his release from prison. He has been defending innocent people from wrongful conviction his life's work. The life of Reuben Hurricane Carter has taken many twists. Through his boxing career, he was arrested for triple murder and sentenced to 3 life terms. In 1988, his 22-year-old indictment was finally dismissed. His story was displayed in the film The Hurricane, starring Denzel Washington. You can get that at your video stores. Dr. Carter has spoken with former President Clinton on issues related to the death penalty, addressed the U.S. General Assembly, and has spoken alongside President Nelson Mandela. He lectures frequently at bar associations, universities, law schools, and high schools throughout the United States and Canada. We're very, very honored to have Dr. Carter with us today, and we thank the associated students for their efforts in bringing him here today. Dr. Carter.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, Madam Dean, members of this distinguished faculty, graduating classes of 2008, parents, friends, honored guests, I bid you all welcome to this beautiful day. Now, since this is California and this is Hollywood land, and this is the place where people make a living pretending to be something that they're not, I want to set the record straight here today. If anyone has come here with the expectations of actually seeing Denzel Washington standing up here rather than little old me, well, I apologize for that. I do, because Denzel Washington can make anybody look good. You know, since the release of the movie The Hurricane, as I travel the world defending innocent people from wrongful convictions, meeting everyone from presidents to political prisoners, from the White House to the death houses of the world, people always come up to me, as they did here today, look at me, shake their heads and say, "You don't look like Denzel Washington." They do. And they're actually being kind to me. Because what they are really saying is, thank God Denzel Washington doesn't look like you. And again, I can't complain. Because until I saw, with my own eye, until I saw Denzel Washington portraying me up there on that big screen, man, I didn't know how good looking I really was. You know what I mean? I didn't have a clue. But as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, I am not Denzel Washington. I am Dr. Reuben Carter. CEO and founder of Innocence International, a global service network dedicated to defending innocent people from wrongful convictions. And yes, I have been known as the Hurricane. But unlike my 4 sister hurricanes a couple of seasons ago, Katrina, Ophelia, Rita, and Wilma, I bring not destruction, but good news. Yeah, I bring to you the message that I heard in prison. not the message of despair, but the biblical message of hope. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. I say that to you despite all of the falsehoods we live with today, the fear, the anger, the hate, the wars, the illusions. The truth will live on because the truth is invincible. And when you speak and act only upon the truth, then you are invincible. I would not be standing here today if that were not the truth. So perhaps the thought has crossed your minds, why am I here? And more importantly, why are you here sitting out in the rain listening to an old fogey like me? Or more specifically, what does my life have to do with your lives? After all, I'm 71 years old, grew up on the streets of New Jersey, and wasn't fortunate enough to obtain my education from Sonoma State University. So I grew up in a time in America when black people were only allowed to be criminals or entertainers. So I became a prize fighter and went from being the #1 contender to the middleweight crown to being number 45472 in the state penitentiary. I served almost 20 excruciating years in prison for a crime I did not commit. I was almost executed, just narrowly escaping the electric chair. So what does all this have to do with you? Why am I here? What's my connection to you? Well, let me tell you a little story. Once there was a little boy who wanted to play with his father. And his father had promised that he would play with him when he could find the time. But, of course, the father was a very busy man, working all day long, trying to pay the bills, trying to keep his family outfitted in the latest Nikes, Air Jordans, hip-hop, and the grunge look. And you know how expensive that could be. One Saturday afternoon, very much like this Saturday afternoon, the father found himself sitting at home, reading the newspaper and watching a football game, when his young son asked him to play with him as he had promised. But the father was just too tired. So in order to gain himself some time, the father ripped a page out of the newspaper that had a map of the world on it. He tore it up into tiny, tiny pieces, gave them to his son, and promised that by the time he pasted the pieces back together, the father would be ready to play. So the little boy went off with the pieces of paper. And the father, confident now that he had all the time he wanted, sat back in his favorite chair to relax, knowing that he had at least a couple of hours. But 5 minutes later, the little boy was back. The page of the newspaper was completely intact. Every piece of the map was in its proper place. The father looked at his son in utter amazement. I mean, he was flabbergasted. "How did you do that?" he said. "How did you do that so quickly?" The little boy looked up at his father, not really understanding why his father should be so surprised. "Daddy," he said, "on the front of the page that you gave me was a map of the world. But on the other side, there was a picture of a little boy. So I just put the boy back together. And when I turned the page over, the world was all together too." So I am here to tell you that life has a way of surprising us sometimes, and that the world can come together in the most unexpected ways. You and you and you and all of you are the young people of today that can make the old people of yesterday and put the whole world back together again. During my 13th year in prison, I was surprised. I had the good fortune to meet such a little boy, a young man who had just been rescued from the mean streets of Brooklyn's worst ghetto the year before. He had been brought to Toronto by a group of Canadian friends who informally adopted and educated him and provided him with a safe environment. Leslie Martin was his name. At the age of 15, Leslie had stood third in his grade 10 Brooklyn class of 40. Third. He was considered to be an honor student, and yet he couldn't read or write. He couldn't speak a single word of standard English. He didn't even know the name of the country he lived in, although every day in school he was made to pledge allegiance to his flag. Leslie's dream, and dare to dream, my friends, dare to dream. Because without the dream, nothing can be different than what it is. Dare to dream. Dare to visualize your dream. Leslie's dream as a young boy was to become a lawyer. Now, he didn't know what lawyers did. All he knew was that lawyers got paid a great deal of money when people were in trouble. And in his world, and in my world as well, everybody was always in trouble. So Leslie's chances of needing a lawyer were far greater than his chances of ever becoming one. But Leslie was lucky. He met this group of Canadians who changed the course of his life forever. And together, they changed the course of my life too. And I can assure you that when these Canadians were your ages, they had no idea what their lives could possibly have in common with Leslie's life or with my life. I mean, they didn't know anything about ghettos and prisons and mind-boggling injustices. They were from Toronto, Canada. They didn't have a fixed plan of how their lives would unfold. But they were courageous enough to be open, to leave room for something new, something unexpected in their lives. They were willing to embrace something different. They weren't frightened of it and didn't dismiss it simply because it was too difficult or too foreign. Nor did they say, what's it got to do with me? Isn't that what we always ask ourselves? What's in it for me? When it was time to study history or literature, you looked at your teacher and yawned. You rolled your eyes to the back of your head and thought, boring. What's history or literature got to do with me? I'm just finishing school so I can get a job. Or I'm going into computer science, or law, or business. Well, I am here to tell you today that the world is your business. Yes. And if you don't cultivate your ability to think, if you don't have all the tools necessary to process all the information coming at you, then you are locking yourself away in a kind of prison and you don't even know it. You see, there are prisons and then there are prisons. They may look different, but they're all the same. They all confine you. They all limit your freedom. They all lock you away and grind you down and take a terrible toll on your self-esteem. There are prisons made of brick, steel, and mortar. And then there are prisons without visible walls. The prisons of poverty, illiteracy, unemployment, drugs, and racism. And all too often, those of us who are condemned to these metaphorical prisons, poverty, racism, drugs, unemployment, and illiteracy, usually end up doing double time. That is, we wind up in the physical prisons as well. There were only 3 options open to Leslie in the ghetto: to be murdered on the streets, to be strung out on drugs, or to be locked up in jail. Not particularly a broad range of career opportunities, wouldn't you say? But as I said before, Leslie was lucky. He met this group of Canadians, and today he has an honors BA from the University of Toronto, a master's degree from Dalhousie. He graduated law school and today is a crowned attorney as a prosecutor in Kamloops, British Columbia. Today the world is Leslie's oyster rather than a noose around his neck. So Leslie can tell you, if he were here, how hard it is sometimes not to give up. And so can I. How many times did I find myself on the brink of giving up? You see, people think that being in jail means simply losing your freedom for a while. But let me tell you that you lose a whole lot more than that. Not being free to come and go as you please is the least of your problems. In prison, you become a number, not a person, not a human being, but a thing to be guarded with the maximum of security and the minimum of compassion. Whatever you can possibly imagine, whatever you can dream up in your worst nightmare, the reality of prison is by far worse than that. In prison, it's just about impossible not to give up, not to give in, and not to give up. How many times was I told that I would spend the rest of my life behind bars? How many times did I hear, "Forget it, Carter. Forget it, number 45472. You've had your chance. Nothing can help you now." And just when it was possible that I might have bought this ticket, that there really was no hope, life surprised me. Leslie came along, and with him, his Canadian family. But just as it took a certain kind of attitude on the part of these Canadians to accept Leslie into their lives, so it required a certain attitude on my part to accept these strangers into my life. I mean, the last thing I needed in jail was a scrawny kid and a bunch of white folks from a foreign country. They weren't even lawyers. But look at what happened. Look at what happened to Leslie. Look at what happened to me. When you don't give up, when your mind is open, when your mind is free from the fear of things different, only then can the magic happen. Only then can people come together and do the impossible. Only then can the world be pasted back together again. Which brings us to what a real education is all about. You see, a real education, you see, it's quite possible to be well educated and very stupid at the same time. Yes, a closed mind is a dangerous thing indeed, because nothing ever goes into it, but strange things are forever coming out of it. A real education is not about just filling your head with dates, facts, and figures. A real education is about schooling your mind to be receptive to the world around you, to be simultaneously analytical and compassionate. In other words, to use not only your mind, but also your heart. The heart, the mind is for thinking what is true, and the heart for perceiving that which is good. And only one heart can teach another heart what the written word does not say. It's all in your attitude. Leslie and the Canadians didn't have to be lawyers to get me out of prison. And they didn't have to be locksmiths either. But they had to be well educated. They had to have disciplined minds and not be afraid to use them. To be well educated will give you the ability to move freely through life. But to understand where you are going, to understand the world you live in, you have to understand where you have been. And not only where you have been, but also where your neighbors have been, where the person sitting beside you has been. And that's why it's so vital to know something about history. Things that happen today, such as 9/11, does not just suddenly appear out of a vacuum. Today is what it is because yesterday was what it was. And if the day is what it is because yesterday was what it was, then tomorrow will be exactly what we make of today. How many of you guys out there, yes, go ahead. How many of you have seen the movie Malcolm X or read his autobiography? Now, this is a story of a black man who lived and died in the United States before any of you were even born. What's that got to do with us today? Well, since you asked, I'll tell you what. You see, I knew Malcolm. Malcolm was like a big brother to me, just as I was a big brother to Leslie. Malcolm was my friend. Malcolm was a freedom fighter. Malcolm fought for the rights of all people to be free from the prisons of oppression, the prisons of poverty, the prisons of illiteracy, the prisons of drugs, and the prisons of racism. But the conditions that Malcolm was speaking out against then, the injustices, the lack of access to opportunity, the denial to human rights, police brutality, these same things are going on today because nothing has been done about them in the past. Today is what it is because yesterday was what it was. If we don't address the problems, if we don't try to understand each other's history, if we don't try to see our neighbor's point of view, then grievances will fester. They will not just disappear. And that's whether it's the grievances of Americans, Canadians, Serbians, Croatians, Sri Lankans, Chinese, Vietnamese, Indians, East, West, and Native North American, Africans, Pakistanis, Irish, French, English, Greeks, Turks, Israelis, Palestinians. Did I miss anybody? And all those that I missed. And if you don't know your history, you won't know what's going on or what to do about it. So through ignorance and apathy, you won't do anything. Or you'll do the wrong thing. And nothing will ever change. It's all in your attitude. As Malcolm used to tell me, Reuben, if you're not part of the solution, then you are part of the problem. And none of us want to be part of the problem. So I urge you to look around. And I say this to you now. Don't shut the world out. Don't isolate yourselves in cliques. Go beyond yourself. Learn about different things, different people, different cultures. Go beyond yourself. Embrace the world. And you will be amazed at what it's got to do to you. So let the story of Leslie and the Canadians and the hurricane always remind you that each one of us has the power to pace the world back together again. When we don't let our differences get in the way, when we realize our essential sameness, when we see one another as brothers and sisters, when people come to terms with history and liberate themselves from the images of the past, when everyone can share in the vitality, the energy, the resilience, the beauty, the color and texture of each other's cultures, then miracles are indeed possible. And what has happened in my life, as difficult as it has been, has also been absolutely miraculous. Dare to dream, my friends. Dare to dream. This universe in which we live and breathe and exercise our beings is so magical, so miraculous, that even lost dreams maybe are not always lost. Dare to dream. 37 years after my career as a prize fighter was over, after everyone thought that I would spend the rest of my life in jail for a crime I did not commit, for the first time ever, for the first time in pugilistic history, the World Boxing Council and the World Boxing Association awarded me with the middleweight championship belts of the world. Dare to dream. These belts. These belts. Yeah. Dare to dream. Dare to dream. These belts, ladies and gentlemen, these belts are symbols of that great victory. The victory of going beyond yourself. The victory of substance over form. And jazz goes to show, if you don't give up, if you keep on struggling no matter what the circumstances are, no matter what the odds may be, no matter what the obstacles may be, because obstacles are not placed in front of us to stop us, but simply to make us stronger for the next obstacle to come. Life is an obstacle course, but you got to run it. Our stumbling blocks in life, in reality, are only our stepping stones. Dare to dream, ladies and gentlemen, and don't give up. Because when you give up on anything, you're not giving up on that thing you think you've given up on. You are giving up on yourself. And once you give up on yourself, a trace of that always remains. And it's always easier to give up the next time. Don't give up. Dare to dream. And always, always remember, do all things with love. Love for yourself, love for all others, and love for the Creator who has created everything. Hate put me in prison, and love busted me out. I congratulate all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You know, I spent most of my life around the Gulf Coast of the United States or in the Caribbean, where hurricanes are something to be highly concerned about. At one point in my life, I used to chase them professionally. You are the first hurricane I met who I really, really liked. Plus, I have to tell you, usually at a ceremony like this, the president has the most bling. Boy, this is nothing compared to that bling. Academic life has offered you the opportunity to study and to learn, to reflect, analyze, and synthesize, to formulate and test hypotheses. As you leave the world of the university and enter upon the course of your careers, you surely will put your theories to the test. Your new world will likely be more demanding and less forgiving. You will be faced with greater challenges and with more questions than solutions. In the real world, what we all learn is that our decisions and actions have very real consequences, both practical and moral, for ourselves and others. What is certain in this very dynamic world is that there is no shortage of important work for the graduates of 2008. What advice can I offer to guide you on your way? I charge you to live a life of learning. Knowledge is a tool for bettering this world. You have developed skills of acquiring knowledge and critical thinking. Continue to hone your skills, to ask questions and pursue sound answers, and to exercise discipline in your work. I charge you to cultivate compassion for others. From compassion comes understanding of our differences and appreciation of our commonalities. Compassion engenders kindness and caring and generosity. The virtues are the essence of our humanity and the ingredients we need to achieve a truly peaceful, collaborative coexistence. I charge you to become involved in community life. To paraphrase Pericles' statement in the Golden Age of Athens, we do not say of people who do not participate in public affairs that they mind their own business. We say they have no business here at all. We do not achieve alone, we always achieve with others. As citizens, we're obliged to understand the assumptions, ideals, and aspirations of our communities, and to develop the desire and the will to participate in their institutions for the common good. I charge you to actively seek and create and teach a life of hope. We must believe that what we think and say and do can make a difference. We're living in a period of turbulence in our economic systems, our political institutions, our social values, and throughout the world. In such time, we can easily become dispirited and discouraged. Our greatest challenge is to keep alive the belief that a better, more enlightened, more humane world is truly possible. And last, I charge you to do all of these with a sense of adventure and fun, and I think you are very capable of doing that. The faculty of this university has determined that you, the graduates of 2008, are ready to meet your responsibilities. I join them, along with the university administration and staff, your family and friends, our distinguished guests here today, in wishing you a rewarding future. At this time, I would like to call attention to a particularly significant graduate today, Ms. Erica Peringer-Batten. Will you please stand, Erica? There is my good friend Erica, right there on the left side. She has accomplished something that few have. Certainly, I could not have. She entered Sonoma State as a freshman with a 4.0 grade point average, and she graduates today having received nothing less than a grade A in every single class. Erica has earned her bachelor's degree in music today, not a small feat to do as well as she has. Congratulations, Eric, on being a Presidential Scholar. Your future looks very bright. Please note that Eric is wearing the Presidential Scholar Medallion, and congratulations to you on your outstanding accomplishment, and will be keep very much in touch. Graduates who are preparing for careers in education will now be acknowledged. I recognize the Dean of the School of Education, Dr. Mary Gendernally Cooper.
This is a wonderful day, and we're all in our party colors. Today is a very special day, and I'd like to acknowledge our very first class of doctoral students to be graduating from Sonoma State University. The Candell program, the Capital Area North Joint Doctorate in Educational Leadership program, is a joint doctoral program in educational leadership between Sonoma State University and the University of California, Davis. Please see page 23 of your program for a list of the students who will receive their doctoral degrees at the UC Davis School of Education graduation ceremony on June 11th. Please join me in congratulating these fine students on their accomplishment. Many of the candidates participating in today's ceremony here at Sonoma State University are engaging in or are preparing for careers in education. Some are receiving a master's degree, some have completed bachelor's degree work for their major fields, and also are completing or will soon begin coursework leading to a California teaching or service credential. We are very proud of the contribution you will make to the field of education and to our collective profession. Will all of the master's and bachelor's degree candidates in any field who are preparing for careers in education please stand? Join me in wishing these graduates every success in their calling. Thank you, and please be seated.
The graduates will now be presented and the degrees conferred. I'm pleased to recognize Dr. Timothy Madley, Chair of the Faculty.
President Armiñana, it is my privilege to recommend these students who are assembled before you as candidates for degrees under requirements prescribed by the trustees of the California State University and by the faculty of Sonoma State University. Candidates for the master's degrees and bachelor degrees will be presented to you by the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Eduardo Ochoa.
President Armiñana, I am pleased to certify that the master's degree candidates here today have completed all the requirements established by the trustees of the California State University and the faculty of Sonoma State University for the degree of Master of Business Administration, Master of Arts in Education, Master of Arts in English, and Master of Arts in Interdisciplinary Studies, Action for a Viable Future, Hutchins School. Will master's degree candidates please rise and remain standing?
Candidates for the master's degree, you have heard the recommendation of the faculty of Sonoma State University. By the virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the California State University, I do hereby confer upon each of you who has satisfied the requirements the appropriate degree of Master's of Arts in Business Administration, Master of Arts in Education, Master of Arts in English, Master of Arts in Interdisciplinary Studies, as Action for a Viable Future Hutchins, with all the honors, privileges, and responsibilities thereupon pertaining. Degrees are conferred. Congratulations. And please be seated.
President Armiñana, the deans of the schools will now present the candidates for the bachelor's degree. I recognize Dr. William Babula, Dean of the School of Arts and Humanities.
Will all candidates for bachelor's degrees in the School of Arts and Humanities please rise? President Arminiana, on behalf of the faculty of the School of Arts and Humanities, I have the honor to recommend the candidates for bachelor's degrees with majors in American Multicultural Studies, Art, Art History, California Cultural Studies. We'll have one of these years. Chicano and Latino Studies, Communication Studies, English, Fine Arts, French, bonjour. Liberal Studies, also known as the Hutchins Cult. Music. Philosophy. Spanish. And Break a Lake Theater Arts.
Congratulations, graduates. Thank you, Dean Babula. Candidates from the School of Arts and Humanities, you may now be seated. I recognize Dr. T.K. Clark, Interim Dean of the School of Business and Economics.
Will all the candidates for the bachelor's degree in the School of Business and Economics please rise? President Arminiano, on behalf of the faculty of the School of Business and Economics, I have the honor to present the candidates for bachelor's degrees with majors in economics, business administration, and management.
Congratulations, graduates. Thank you, Dean Clark. Candidates from the School of Business and Economics, you may be seated.
Now, will all the candidates for the bachelor's degree please stand? Candidates for the bachelor's degree, you have heard the recommendation of the faculty of Sonoma State University. By the virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the California State University, I do hereby confer upon each of you who has satisfied the requirements the Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Sciences with all honors, privileges, and responsibilities thereupon pertaining. Now, to signify that the bachelor's degree has been earned, you may move the tassel of your cap to the left side. Congratulations to all of you. With all of the graduates, please join me in expressing our appreciation to the faculty and staff of Sonoma State University, whose hard work and dedication help you achieve this goal. Please be seated. I would like to take a moment to recognize our recipients to the Staff Excellence Award. These awards are presented to select members of the Sonoma State University staff in recognition of their outstanding service to the university and the students and faculty and the community. Today's recipients are Mary Beth Hall from the School of Science and Technology. She was here this morning. And Mr. Kamen Nikolov from the Center for Performing Arts, who's also a several degrees recipient from Sonoma State University, and he's with us, as you can see. Thank you, Kamen and others, for your excellent service to Sonoma State University. At this time, I would also like to congratulate one of our recipients of the 2008 Excellence in Teaching Award. This award honors members of the Sonoma State University faculty who have made outstanding contributions to the education of Sonoma State University students through classroom instruction and other activities that promote student learning. Our recipient today is Dr. Robert Train. Dr. Train led the ceremony this afternoon carrying the university banner, and you can learn a great deal about him on page 8 of your program. He is an associate professor of Spanish and the director of the Language and Culture Learning Center. He joined the faculty of Sonoma State University in 2002. He's very much committed to helping his students learn languages beyond English to prepare them for a complex and multilingual and multicultural world. Please join me in expressing our appreciation for Dr. Train for his education to excellence in teaching, and to do so, we have a small envelope with a check. This morning, we had Dr. Carmen Works, a professor in the School of Science and Technology, the Department of Chemistry, who received also the Excellence in Teaching Award. She got her check, but there was no ceremony for her to get it, but she's already spending it.
Our candidates have devoted great time, energy, and sacrifice in order to earn their degrees. So that each of them may be accorded personal recognition, their names will be read as they approach the platform to receive their diplomas. We request that the audience remain seated during this special moment for our graduates and their families and friends. We also ask that you hold your applause until the end of the presentation so that everyone's name can be heard. On behalf of the faculty and graduates, I would like to thank Professor Suzanne Krzyzewski and Deborah Roberts for reading their names. We will now present the diplomas. I recognize Dr. Carol Blacksher-Balai, Vice Provost for Academic Affairs, who will introduce the candidates.
Welcome. Will those receiving master's degrees from the School of Education please rise? Master's degree candidates, please come forward to receive your diplomas.
Joan Stevens, Masters in Education. Linda Wyoming Miley Lewis, Master's in Education.
Kathleen Davies, Master's in Education.
Diana Scranton, Master's in Education.
Carol Mona Kegg, Master's in Education.
Danielle Martinson, Master's in Education.
Erin Carstensen Shreve, Master's in Curriculum Teaching and Learning.
Jennifer Chisholm, Master's in Education.
Tony Ann Mata, Master's in Education.
Gina Downey, Master's in Education.
Annette Valentina Zucconi Montes, Master's in Education.
Lindsay Marie Miller, Master's in Education.
Julia Carol Berger, Master's in Education.
Dana Dickinson, Master's in Education.
Karen Anderson, Master's in Education.
Sherry Dubois, Master's in Education.
Andrea Correa, Master's in Education.
Patricia Lynn Powell Ogura, Master's in Education.
Reuben Alexander Steinglass, Master's in Education.
Pamela Leola Porter, Master's in Education.
Linda Chavez, Master's in Education.
Anita Marie Swanson, Master's in Education.
Charmaine Tyler, Master's in Education.
Tracy Lavin Kendall, Master's in Education. Marilyn Catherine Siegel, Master's in Education. Edmund Zander, Master's in Educational Leadership. Mary Kathleen Bone, Master's in Education, Teaching, and Learning. Nicholas Alexander Harris. Ash Evan Lewin. Yesenia Salas Chavita.
Congratulations to the recipients of master's degrees from the School of Education. Please be seated. Now, will those receiving master's degrees from the School of Arts and Humanities please rise? Master's degree candidates, please come forward to receive your diplomas. Angela Hollern, Master's in English. Dolores Bainter, Master's in English Creative Writing. Jennifer Lee Quinlan, Master's in Interdisciplinary Studies, British Cultural Studies.
Shirley Johnson Fole, Master's in Interdisciplinary Study, Action for a Viable Future.
Robin West, Master's in Social Change. Adriana Buck, Master's in Social Marketing. Congratulations to the recipients of master's degrees from the School of Arts and Humanities. Please be seated. Bachelor's degree recipients from the School of Arts and Humanities will now receive their diplomas. Will the school marshals please direct your graduates to come forward and receive their diplomas?
Joshua Nemec.
Jessica Edson.
Joshua Forth.
Trevor McKee.
Adriana Vigil.
Casey Thompson.
Miles Madison.
Mike Coffinow, Masters in Art History.
Miriam Gorsiak Brummel.
Krista Juanita Jenny Canyo, Masters in English.
Tyler Tebrich.
Danielle Diego.
Juliet Stein.
Jessica Lynn.
Sarah Christine Cowan.
Michelle E. Dumas.
Floretta Denise Burrows.
Kellyanne Pickett Smith.
Elena Silva.
David W. Rick.
Jenna Farley.
Christina Kathleen Towner.
Carly Lynn Brunel.
Nicole Teresa Nelson.
Anya Nicole Leeds.
Joy Marks.
Jessica Brady.
Stacy Marie Moore.
Nathan Bruce Martin.
Megan Louise Emmerich.
Ashley Louise McClellan.
Amanda Francis Lee.
Caitlin Marie Smith.
And Margot Tiak.
Kristen Crooker.
Kara Jean Komka.
Nelson May.
Allison Diane Gant.
Lauren Deanna Hamilton.
Chantel Carreño.
Virginia Wenzel.
Bibiam Fry.
Stephanie Foster.
Elizabeth Ashley Green.
Nikki Smith.
Melissa Grace Smith.
Quinn Morrison.
Angelica Bravo Avina.
Allison Kathleen Messenger.
Maria Indindoli.
Marilyn Gretchen Burkholder.
Molly Vasquez.
Imelda Guzman.
Maribel A. Ramirez.
Joyna Heinz.
Fortunata Tessa Limandri.
Lindsay Denise Maxwell.
Elizabeth Ashley Brown.
Renee Noel Dillard.
Marissa Lopez Green.
Megan Lynn Pereira.
Andres Sabogal.
Meredith Ashley Rosenberg.
Jessica Lee Lupton.
Sarah Simmons White.
Leanne Elizabeth Hill.
Lauren Buckley Hobbs.
Brittany Ann Kupka.
Margarita Ochoa Avalos.
Jessica Lynn Downey.
Jessica Olvera.
Jolynn Lytle.
Juan Carlos Valandran.
Ashley Ann Reed.
Jose Diaz Montoya.
Camille Marie Martin.
Andres Pena.
Jessica Ann Fink.
Jorge Yixwith Navarro.
Jean Claire Abazian.
Christina Greck.
Ana Marissa Lopez.
Ashley Brainco.
Bobby Holmes.
Maritza Resendiz Castillo.
Michelle Savel de Tremont.
Ona Alisa Revicchio.
Joaquin Bernal.
Janelle Christine Harrington.
Brian Goldstein.
Lisa Zapolsky.
Andrea Christ.
Chloe Ann Bowers-Liebert.
Kelly Lee Richter.
Renee Thompson.
Fawn Amber McCulley.
Sherry Volmer.
Linda Eileen Zajac.
Kristen Bunner.
Caitlin Carolyn Madrigal.
Julia Knudsen.
Elizabeth Farkley.
Suzanne Ramey.
Ausencio Aguilar.
Virginia de Maria Danielle.
Anthony Mitchell Brown.
Mary Claire Neal.
Jillian Robin Parker.
Sana Lodi Ortega.
Ning Cicillo.
Lisa C. Lombardi.
Kelly Michelle Kill.
Patrick James Wessel.
Yolanda Montanez.
Kimberly Ryder.
William Kenneth Sellers.
Carol Yasinsek.
Alexis Glubica.
Frank Perdomo.
Lauren Summerhauser.
Jessica Johnson.
Jessica Rose Tarleton.
Shannon Marie McCarthy.
Erin Liliana Pollock.
Ashley Michelle Meyer.
Connor Cummins.
Cassandra Jean Curiel.
Abigail Aikborn.
Jacqueline Johansson.
Emily Wittenberg.
Sheila Ann Watuzi Sanchez.
Smokey David Shearer-Wastall.
Alana Miller.
Alexandra Marie Lemus.
Isabella Woodley.
Ryan Andrew Crawford.
Mallory Craig.
Melanie Jane Mays.
Reshni Chowdhury.
Rochelle Marie Brady.
Gabrielle Lucille Hoffman.
Eunice Joe.
Samantha Marie Lanktor.
Jenny Van Peter.
Catherine Banco.
Brian Nellis Wright.
Brianne Radcliffe.
Kira Lee Woods.
Kirsty Elaine Betts.
Laurel Shepard.
Ashley Cobb.
Megan Ray McGuire.
Ashley Joe Farizel.
Lauren Haas.
Alexandria Leitz.
Molly McAllister.
Michelle Mastrioni.
Catherine Elaine Gooch.
Kiala Newland.
Kathleen Michelle Riley.
Nicole Collison.
Elizabeth Teresa Rogers.
Nicole Hotnoth.
Casey Marie Leonard.
Amanda Desiree Schrader.
Hannah Marie Kirtland.
Haley Elizabeth Crater.
Charlotte Kathleen Gudo.
Mariah Ray Swinehart.
Jessica Ann Sanders.
Catherine Amy Price.
Ana Ramirez.
Alessandra Rigal.
Tessie Popper Kaiser.
Kyla Keefe.
Candace Hilbert.
Sabra Spilsberg.
Brianna Barnett.
Julianne Rose Perkins.
Janelle Lynn Sutton Baumsteiger.
Emily Wong.
Brendan Taylor Conroy.
Karen Barber.
Stacy Lynn Lifto.
Teresa Dueñas.
Gwen Jones.
Lucien Villanueva Grumley.
Jesse Dungan.
Julie Young.
Keith Hampton.
Leah Anstey Standridge.
Patrick Scott Colford.
Davini Bashaw Contreras.
Daniel Ryan Pretty.
Carolyn Rojas Sullivan.
James Alexander Freeby.
Miranda Laurel Dodson.
Nanette Meltzer.
Kaylee Washburn.
Stephanie Jessup.
Lindsay D. Banworth.
Catherine Maureen Earhart.
Catherine Kirtland.
Savannah Drake Barnard.
Leslie Farbman.
Jacob Daniel Ankardoji Shebitz.
Elizabeth Allen.
Stacy Nojima.
Rebecca Young.
Sage Feifeld.
Natalia Nicole Nunez Lewis.
Erica Thomas.
Ezra Taylor.
Sarah Dowdell.
Catherine Elizabeth Francis Heiser.
Nellie Kuto.
Catherine Pavilla.
Jacqueline Flores.
Rachel Virginia Sagapoulou.
Christina Olympia Wilson.
Nicole Ray Rivera.
Nicole Rose Martin.
Kendra Jeanette Moore.
Kristen Roth.
Mai Nakamura.
Fernanda Boras.
Shelley Lynn Farnsworth Lasky.
Ashley Lynn Basher.
Laura Grievous.
Nicole Elizabeth Jr.
Jennifer John.
Rebecca Elaine Basil.
Jennifer Cantrell.
Healy Heisler.
Marco Antonia Tapia.
Jason Glasspiegel.
Michelle Brianne Kaiser.
Megan Ashley Brown.
Julie Havrilla.
Marissa Spada.
Katie Marie Hayes.
Aaron Miller.
Dana Nicole Barrett Kariner.
Allison Johnson.
Jennifer Ann Tamio.
Kristen Perry.
Antoinette Hoffman.
Elizabeth Early.
Julianne Rose Ryan.
Nelson Gray.
Karen Boudry.
Leisha Kraft.
Laura Lee.
Adrian Nicole McGee.
Linda Moore.
Misty Ray Meredith.
Suzanne Elizabeth Daly.
Nicholas Joseph Perdigao.
Marie Daglian.
Caitlin Nicole Carey.
Courtney Hardy.
Emily Catherine Wentworth.
Stephanie Alban.
Christina Ann Wellhauser.
Miranda Kirkland.
Chelsea Jane Anderson.
Sarah Marie Speciali.
Kimberly Caldwell.
Kellyanne Violet Cunningham.
Kara Nelson.
Jennifer Ashley Huss.
Kristen Nicole Kebler.
Nicholas Humphrey.
Heather Moffett.
Danette Nicole Alfaro.
Marina Rothstein.
Lindsay Marie Sealand.
Katrina Cockerill.
Devin Lockwood.
Dan Mastaro.
Nicole Schlossberg.
Tyler Dale Evans Wood.
Daniel McDonough.
Eric Adelman.
Katie Burrows.
Scott Ma.
Neil Hubman.
Kyle Carter Warren.
Tyler Savage.
Christy Janae Whitman.
Connor Byers.
Stephen Robert Ackle.
Juana Lupu.
Matthew Gordon.
Erica Leah Hikara.
Kelly Dawn Carey.
Kelly Daly McKinley.
Jennifer Ruth.
Jared Lang.
Angela Percaro.
Benjamin Gonzalez.
Jeff Presnell.
Michelle Mariani.
Whitney Van Austin Boggs.
Shannon McCarthy.
Amanda Elizabeth Crockett.
Shayna Cotton.
Danny Goldie.
Michael Sunson.
Madeline M. Hall.
Ryan Michael McAvoy.
Jesse Stites.
Peter John Baruso.
Asha Dion Cofield.
Peter Caldelas.
Naila Cofield.
Michael William Courtney.
Adam Burkholder.
Nicholas Fritz Codling.
Kelly Howell McKee.
Timothy B. Walker.
Nicole Marie Imholtz.
Jordan D. Johnson.
Janelle Lynn Feldman.
Auditi Saran.
Ashley Nicole Aquista Pache.
Sean Smith Aralt.
Hillary Samara Bensky.
Colin Michael Reddy.
Jennifer Ojima.
Timothy O'Neill Gall.
Soren Andre Niagu.
Aaron Coughlin.
Nathaniel Martin Anderson.
Luke Eugene Plass.
Arturo Alcala Spell.
Shannon Lisa Jones.
Brian Murray.
Marin Saget. Christopher William Gonzalez. Cassie Landers. Krista Ann Elizabeth Duran. Michael Patrick Benoit. Pamela Augustine McMullen. Stephanie Rachel Graham. Nicholas Matthew Pulley. Danielle Marie Gilmore. Erica Dory Peringer-Batten. Caitlin Ray Penna.
Well, there were...
David Dominic Anduzzi. Skylar Furman. Jordan Yee. Brian Hamby. Brian Mark Purcell. Joshua Lippman. Derek Kirby. Jason Patrick Carr. Greg Schlepfer.
Congratulations to the recipients of bachelor's degrees from the School of Arts and Humanities. Please be seated. Now, will those receiving master's degrees from the School of Business and Economics please rise? Master's degree candidates, please come forward to receive your diplomas.
While we wait for a second, I just want to bring you the good news. So Sonoma State University baseball team won the game 10-1.
Ian Hanna, Master's in Business Administration. Craig Thomas Dawson, Master's in Business Administration. Javier Perez Vega, Master's in Business Administration. Judy Vincenti, Master's in Business Administration. Alicia Durand, Master's in Business Administration. Kenneth Lehman Seto, Master's in Business Administration.
Congratulations to the recipients of master's degrees from the School of Business and Economics. Please be seated. Bachelor's degree recipients from the School of Business and Economics will now receive their diplomas. Will the school marshals please direct your graduates to come forward and receive their diplomas?
Ashley Marie Huff.
Christopher Michael Mansell.
Nancy Ray Patani.
Marissa Bala Gutierrez.
Megan A. Posey.
Brittany Colette Larson.
Teresa A. Dundas Gordon.
Mark Kolaric.
Kathy Patricia Stever Rubio.
Margot Webster.
Julie Elizabeth Dower.
Stephen Alex Fajarden.
Jason Michael Frederick Turner.
Shane Anthony Holt.
Carolyn Troutner.
Kristen Lorraine Julien.
Corey Needham.
Sinead McGillicuddy.
Matthew Cayes.
Courtney Lawler.
Jesse Reel.
Peter Imson.
Matthew John Larabure.
Dallas White.
Bryce Abe.
Casey Bolt.
Gabriel Anthony Lennox.
Stephen Edward Saunderson.
Seiring Doma Sursmar Lama.
Michael James Seibert.
Michael Verdon.
Cameron Ross Pantling.
Stephen King.
J.P. Benzie.
Aaron Mitchell Kirby.
Marita Evelyn Hufford.
Devin Abate.
Kevin Wallner.
Eric Anderson.
Amanda Victoria Ravenscroft.
Scott Robert Griffin II.
Thomas Sean Ahern Jr.
Andrew R. Ferretti.
Lauren Ashley Steele.
Warren Pringle.
Christy Lynn Castillo.
Kevin Nicholas Alexander.
Rachel Bunsey.
Jenna Michelle Levy.
Caitlin Sullivan.
Amy Ann Foster.
Christy Brassfield.
Jessica Diane Hogendijk.
Lauren Heather Kamensky.
Kendall Lee Jennings.
Katie Renee Killam.
Tasia Ann Latanzio.
Jenna Noel Taylor.
Elizabeth Christina Cardosa.
Sarah Irene White.
Danielle Nicole Gardner.
Gina Nicole Bardoni.
William Christopher Goebel.
Bridget G. Bailey.
Scott Delson.
Catherine Reed DeColibus.
Michael David Bridgman.
Shannon Marie Hayes.
Jeff Link.
Carolyn Pettit.
Eric Anderson.
Erica May Kerr.
Jeffrey Stream.
Robert William Kerr.
Patrick James Pung Precarity.
Becky Ann Perfetto.
Jeffrey Lamar Fuller.
Sarah Rochelle Perfedo.
James Joseph Leonardon.
David Michael Cedino.
Chad James Freitas.
Jesse Morgan Ulatalo.
Colin Michael Hare.
Freddie Alexander Trujillo.
Michael Douglas Carr.
Marta Llamas Peavy.
Miles Andrew Nelson.
Tiana Hoynu Nguyen.
Sarah J. Helmers.
Delia Franco.
Lauren Harry.
Lam Pham.
Tiffany Catherine Bashaw.
Jeffrey Francis Masters III.
Daniel Huffman.
Miranda Lee Smith.
Lisa Galletley.
Shayna Marie Summerhays.
Leslie McGallion.
Sherry Wood.
Nicholas Full.
Andrew Allen Horton.
Kyle Pasnick.
Kelly Suzanne O'Brien.
Kurt Boughton.
Brittany Sacomano.
David Ott.
Cindy Winters.
Brandon Augustin.
Colleen McNett.
Alicia Sahagian.
Eric Schleich.
Christina Smith.
Malika Sunyoung.
Megan Mutimer.
Megan Francis Chisholm.
Stephen Brown.
Ashley Renee Presidio.
Michael Asaro.
Larissa Joelle Laska.
Emily Thompson.
Cameron Smith.
Tyler Bryan.
Michael Patrick James Degnan.
Michael Duncan.
Mick Lovin.
Nathan Medina.
Peter Viviani.
Melissa Visceral.
Jordan Hogue.
Tiffany Marie Pinson.
Robert Wintrode.
Nicholas Price.
Teresa Marie Ford.
Tiffany Bell.
Ronald Joseph Holt.
Danielle Bolster.
Travis Ransom.
Sarah Pearson.
Marky Myers.
Ashley Westmoreland.
Danielle Javadi.
Kelly Mahoney.
Robert Neary.
Jenna Ray.
Andrew Pulaski.
Adele Merritt.
Nick Esposito.
Blake Gilmore.
Jacqueline Alvarez.
Nicholas Simpson.
Patricia Jimenez Barragan.
Rachel Baker.
Vanessa Salinas.
Anthony Thomas Lallee.
Jenna Marie Berkey.
Victor Michael Schramm.
John James Tiernan.
Kelly Bogardus.
Sarah Cahill.
Elise Lauren Driscoll.
Michelle Garner.
Paul Stewart.
Jamie Dumont.
Daniel Cooper.
Nicole Campos.
RJ Chatterny.
Leanna Hardy.
Anish Karoya.
Tamra Iello.
Mara Karoya.
Jennifer Talcott.
Ryan Pedrazini.
Danielle Therese Rivka.
Michael Berry.
Bernadette Marie Pisani.
Tony Moretti.
Anne-Marie Rayner.
Matthew Krula.
Taylor Christine Lawman.
Jonathan Dixon.
Nicholas Bobbs.
Brendan Spillane.
Stephanie Gale Hastings.
Christina Joy Messick.
Alexis Ann Webb.
Kimberly Wilderman.
Shannon Kirkpatrick Green.
Kyle Souza.
Jacob Kafka.
Christopher Olson.
Cristobal Lamas.
Nicholas James Fiorito.
Andrew Lee Macy.
Marie Twyford.
Simon Southwood.
Deanna Cheatham.
Domenica Lookfield Aker.
Crystal Ramsey.
Adria Lynn Burgess.
Kyle Bethel.
Brandon Walter Kutz.
Barbara Elaine Lum.
Vincent Figueroa.
Christina Sanchez Solano.
Whitney Lane Stenberg.
Mai Tuchia.
Jennifer Michelle Hewitt.
Rory Arasi.
Katrina Suzanne Reshik.
Christine Brianne Collins.
Allison Marie Zaslov.
Jennifer Alyssa Kaufman.
Neil Ehrlich.
Tyler Stephen Rich.
Jeremiah Aniselk.
Zachary Lomas.
Jonathan Berglund.
Jessica Pinzon.
Marisa Marisol Mora.
Jennifer Montagna.
So Line.
Kellyanne Reginato.
Tiffany Lanzel.
Pavla Makova.
Ashley Jean Nevis.
Ramina Gassemi.
Krista Ann Sauer.
Elizabeth Shelton.
David Harlan Storum.
Andrew Keith Malmanis.
Denise F. Lee.
Colin Diaz.
Melissa Sam Herrera.
Christopher Lee.
Bridget Marco.
Russell Rigler.
Scott Solskiver.
Daniel McCormick.
Matthew Reel.
Joseph Fafelmi III.
Jane Bernard.
Kellyanne Cerelia.
Alyssa Marie Russell.
Nancy Simansai.
Marcus Ducker.
Scott Kane.
Terry Spike McLean.
Alyssa Mendes.
Enrique Olivares.
Wesley Wallinger.
Carlos Olivares.
John Harrison.
Lam Pham.
A.J. Gilbertson.
Arena Lal.
Molly Penton.
Alvaro Estrada.
Luis Roberto Barahona.
Olina Chandler.
Ashley Nicole Koenig.
Will Lamarquin.
Christina Michelle Whitney.
Linda Bothney.
Danielle Christine Comiani.
Susan Preston.
Shelby Waldner.
Carl Harter.
Kenneth Groen.
R.J. Severo.
Ashley Lane Olson.
C.J. Abiuso.
Mark Rosen.
Dominic Lima.
Derek Voskis.
Matthew Woodward.
Marcel Philip Johnson Taylor.
Bobby Dietz.
William Wilson.
Mark Mantovich.
Lloyd Ray.
Tyler Christian Warren.
Ashley Elizabeth Merton Soto. Jeremy Michael Harrison. Cyrus Dotsey. Jessica Ray Apple. Appel. Michael James Doughton. John Sullivan. James A. Robinson III. Christy Pham. Jose Manuel Ortega. Jesus Rosas. Rashid Andi El Malik Jr. Kyle Koenig. Brandon Schuyler. On Fan. Thomas Gregory Chamian. Chelsea Kimberly Campbell. Heidi Seneff. Kate Shelley. Jennifer Jatsahoria, Katrina Korsak,
Congratulations to all the graduates here today. Please be seated. It is my great pleasure to introduce vocalists Krista Durand and Michael Van Wy to lead us as we sing the Sonoma State Hymn. You will find words to the hymn on the inside front cover of your program.
All right, we're going to sing through it one time, and then you're going to sing through it one time with us.
Thank you, Krista and Michael, for that wonderful performance. The Sonoma State University hymn has been with us since the early 1960s, and we are proud to have it be part of commencement each year. Thank God. At this point in the ceremony, I want to remind you that the School of Arts and Humanities, Business and Economics, and Education are hosting receptions for their graduates and their families immediately following the commencement ceremony. Locations of the receptions are listed on the map on the last page of your program. We hope you will join us at the receptions on this very special day as we salute our graduates and celebrate their accomplishments. We have now come to the part of the ceremony known as the Recessional. The tradition provides us, the faculty, with an opportunity to formally greet and congratulate the graduating students. Therefore, we request that the audience please remain seated until all graduates have left the commencement area, which they should do out this way towards the Student Union. The recessional will terminate in the Central Campus Quad. We appreciate your patience and your cooperation during the recessional. Will the banner carriers please take up their banners? Will the platform party, the faculty, and the graduates please stand?